Really, she comes from here, but she hasn't forgot where she came from, as this $1 billion shows damn well. Brian Higgins, very poetic in his speaking these days. He will become the poet laureate of the House and of Buffalo. But that's because he's a great thinker. He's not a doer, but he's also a thinker, and I love that. And
amazing news, everybody! Lawmakers in House Representatives and the Senate are passing a brand new relief bill. And the Biden administration wants to approve several recovery rebate cards. You want to listen up, folks, and learn how to receive this stimulus check. The Biden administration wants to approve rebate cards, which could actually help you deal with the rising cost of living. Here's some good news. The Senate Democrats are preparing for summer action, everybody, on their climate tax reform and prescriptions bill. Democrats are working behind the scenes on the new version of the bill while aiming to get it passed by a new deadline. Schumer and his staff are also working with Senate parliamentarian to help tee up a vote, and any bill advanced this summer would be slimmer than the original proposed version. The bill would be focused on lowering prescription costs, reducing the deficit, raising taxes on the wealthy, and boosting energy sources, both clean and domestic. Senate Democrat Ron Wyden, who chairs the tax-focused Finance Committee, told reporters this week, "I'm spending a significant amount of time every day on it. I can't get all into negotiations. I believe we're going to get there, and Schumer makes these calls." There are signs that talks are getting more specific. Manchin and Chuck Schumer are doing line by line over what a deal could look like, building a potential agreement from the ground up rather than rehashing agreements from last year. According to Democrats familiar with the matter, much of the recent focus is on energy policy. Joe Manchin indicated he would not support a bill that sends direct payment to companies that produce clean energy for consumer use, drawing an important line in the negotiations. Manchin was the first Democratic senator to warn about potentially rising inflation and was widely dismissed by his colleagues last year when he raised those concerns. Of the provisions being considered for a new party line bill, increases in prescription reform would bring in new revenues, but the energy component could require hundreds of billions of dollars in new spending. The Senate Democrat Debbie Stabenow said that despite the pile-up of critical issues, there's good conversations going on between Manchin and Schumer. Schumer said our talks with Manchin are continuing. Schumer and Nancy Pelosi met with Biden to discuss it. What are your thoughts on this, everybody? Are there going to be negotiations for more stimulus relief? I believe there will. And there is some news that multiple news outlets reported that the Biden administration has recently mulled over a new stimulus plan of sending Americans rebate cards to help offset the rise of gasoline. The Washington Post wrote that the senior White House aides have recently revisited the plan to send gas rebate cards to U.S. households after the administration decided against the move months earlier. Fox Business reported that the Biden administration was considering the rebate cards. One sticking point is that officials are reportedly concerned that consumers would use the cards for purchases for items other than gas. The other is that recent shortages in the chip industry may create an obstacle in physically producing the cards. CNN also cited an official close to the matter as saying that administering cards and speculation about how the money would be spent are the main obstacles currently preventing the plan from being greenlit. But some financial experts have blamed an influx of stimulus cash for causing an imbalance in supply and demand. In an attempt to better balance the supply and demand ratio, a new bill has been proposed that would help and provide many Americans with a $400 stimulus check, everybody. You want to be sure to continue watching this video to find out how to receive it. So these payments could be received by next month, and California Governor Newsom has not been hesitant to send out more crisis relief money to help people in need in the state of California. And with the federal enhanced child tax credit reverting to its original pre-crisis payment of $2,000 per kid, the latest state-initiated benefit program that Newsom could authorize would target the state's most vulnerable and economically disadvantaged people. Los Angeles Assembly member is proposing to use some of California's $97 billion surplus to help support the state's low-income families. In per marca, one-time payments will go to the state's poorest and those making under $30,000 a year. The proposed Assembly bill recommends expanding the current child tax credit to administer a payment of $2,000 per child. The bill also proposes extending the California Earned Income Tax Credit to raise the minimum amount from $1 to $255. According to state officials, the bill passed through the California State Assembly on May 27th, now rests with the Governance and the Finance Committee. Newsom has already announced an $18 billion package aimed at relieving inflation for struggling Californians. The proposed relief program would include $400 checks to all eligible registered vehicle owners in the state. The proposal comes as drivers face record gas prices. Newsom said we enacted the most comprehensive economic stimulus program in the nation last year, getting billions of dollars in immediate relief to Californians. Many folks are still struggling, especially with high costs due to inflation. And so we're leveraging a historic surplus to get money back into the pockets of Californians. Other areas of financial relief include public transportation and childcare for low-income families. Newsom's plan would offer these services for an even further subsidized rate, if not free of charge, for a limited time. A further $1,500 in relief checks is also proposed for hospital and nursing home staff. A new minimum wage will take effect in California next year, an increase caused by inflation. The California Department of Finance said they project inflation for the 2022 fiscal year will be even higher than the year before, causing the increase. The governor has also announced that Connecticut families, everybody, can soon apply to receive a state tax rebate of up to $250 per child for a maximum of 3 kids as a result of the recently enacted 2022 Connecticut Child Tax Credit Rebate that he signed into law earlier this month. The governor told reporters, in addition to making groundbreaking investments in childcare, crime prevention, and caring for our most vulnerable, the budget that we just enacted provides relief, specifically targeted for lower and middle income families with children. Any Connecticut resident who claimed at least one dependent child under the age of 18 on their 2021 federal tax return may be eligible as well. 300,000 Connecticut households will soon reap the benefits of the largest tax cut in the state's history. The 2022 Connecticut Child Tax Credit Rebate is part of the 2023 fiscal year budget, adjustment recently signed into law by the governor. According to a press statement released by the state of Connecticut, the one-year state budget includes $663 million in tax cuts, including a $250 child tax credit, similar to the federal enhanced child tax credit that expired last year.
I said to Nicole I had forgotten that we had that somewhat challenging virtual connection, but so good to be here in person. And I thank Nicole already for the weather. What a stunning day to be here in Morristown. So Nicole, thank you for that introduction, and thank you for your passion and everything that's going on here in Morristown. Deputy Mayor Sue Mamarella as well, and the rest of council. It is an honor to be in his backyard, Congressman Andy Kim. I said, Andy, I think you could walk here this morning, and I believe you may have. My colleague and partner in government, the one and only, the singular Lieutenant Governor, and the Commissioner of the Department of Community Affairs, importantly today, Sheila Y. Oliver. Melanie Walter to her left, the Executive Director of the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency. Terry Tucker's in the house to Melanie's left. And I know he wanted to be here today. Please keep Troy Singleton and his family in your prayers. His grandmother passed over the weekend, so Troy wanted to be with us today. Alex Staropoli, did I get the last name right? How did I do, Alex? No, I passed the Director of Advocacy and Communications at the Fair Share Housing Center, and to all of you.